Hi everyone.
Hey, hi.
Hello. Let's wait for two more minutes. I'll start then. Okay, guys. Good evening, all. You can hear me, right?
Yes,
Yes. No. Okay. Fine. Anyone new today, uh, or you all were there yesterday as well?
I was there the last 2 days.
Okay. Fine. Anyone new? Because if somebody is new, then I'll quickly recap. Or anyone? Okay. So let me quickly recap whatever we have discussed so far. So we discussed about importance of performance engineering, right? So we discussed, right? Testing gives you data. Testing gives you data points. Detection occurs during testing. Okay, what all are the problematic areas? How to solve them? So once those are solved, you can prevent them to occur them again. Sorry, I keep on missing messages on Teams. So if you have any, question, please feel free to interrupt me in between. Okay. So because yesterday somebody said when I was saying performance testing to engineering means detection to prevention. So somebody messaged, I read it afterwards. It is resolution. So that, yeah, I agree. It is resolution. So once the problem is resolved, you are preventing it to occur during production, right? So that is why I was saying detection to prevention. So, importance of performance engineering, we discussed so many monetary benefits it can give to organizations, right? Whenever there is a downtime, we discussed how much availability can, disturb in terms of monetary losses. Organizations, companies can lose millions of dollars, they can lose reputation, they can lose competition also is there. So somebody's loss is others gain, right? So it's like that. So performance engineering is very, very critical and important. So it's a proactive kind of approach wherein you are fine tuning your applications before going to live. Okay, so that way we have discussed. Then we discussed JVM architecture essentials. We discussed about heap memory, right? So we have discussed, right? what is XMS, and young generation, old generation, how the objects move from one generation to another generation. So after Java 8, PermGen is replaced with Metaspace. So Metaspace stores class metadata. It grows dynamically and basically it is controlled by operating system. Okay, so it is not the part of heap, as we already discussed yesterday. It is not a part of heap. Okay, then we use this command. So somebody asked me like what this command means. So these variables you are already aware. These are nothing but setting up, your minimum and maximum range of your heap. Then this one is G1 GC. And there was one question yesterday, if we want to try with other GCs, so what will be the syntax? So these will be the syntax for serial and parallel. Okay, and for concurrence, mark, and sweep. So you can just use it inside your parameter whenever you give, and you can enable your application in that way. And these parameter means you are enabling your application, you are as a JMX. Okay, so what that will do, that will help us to monitor those applications using visual VM or JConsole. Okay, and this remote.local only equal to true means only local connections are allowed. Okay, then we discussed about thread pools and connection pools, right? So thread pool means it's again enabling the
Vicky, sorry.
concurrency
When you
of
say
the
that,
applications. So sorry.
can you scroll up? When you said that remote, uh, yeah, local only equals true, which means that if you run this Spring Boot app on a VM, I have a JVisual VM on another VM. So won't I be able to connect to this Java process from that JVisual VM?
No. So if you want to connect it remotely, then you won't be able to do that. Uh, Here, if I open JVisual VM, the short answer is no. I mean, if you want to open your application remotely, if this particular flag is set to true, then you won't be able to do that. I'll
Okay.
open JConsole and JVisual VM and I'll show you. Yeah, anybody else was asking some question?
Uh,
Okay, so let
Vicky,
me.
if we have to, if I mean, what else, what exactly needs to be changed in that particular command, so that in that particular setting, so that we can
Hmm?
monitor remotely?
You can put it as false, right? So you can monitor
False.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Then we discussed about thread pools and connection pools. So thread pool we discussed to make our application work in concurrent way. So that is where thread pools comes into picture. Connection pools are the connection between your app servers and DB servers, right? And then we discussed about programs, processes, and threads. So program like we were taking an example of Chrome yesterday. So Chrome is itself is a program. Different tabs or different windows of programs are of Chrome are different processes, right? So any running instance of a program is a process. Okay, program in itself is like this some exe or some jar file inside your disk. Okay. Then we discussed about threads. Okay, and how multi-threading application can help you run you can say can help application performance better, so that concurrent users can run it, and there will be I mean performance wise, if there are multi-threading enabled, then the application performs better. And yeah, so any questions so far? So today I'll show you today we will do some calculations around workload modeling. Okay, and then I have I have now an example for how you can set your thread pools, how you can set your database connections. Okay, so what I have done is I have one sample application with me now, which has a separate web server, separate app server, and separate DB server. Okay,
We get
so
just one
we
question before
yeah,
you move on. Um,
yes, please go ahead.
Regarding this, the heap out of memory exceptions, whatever you showed yesterday, right? Are we
Mhm.
going to see, other than increasing the heap size, are we going to see any examples where you actually identify the issue with the code that will resolve these out of memory exceptions in this course content?
Yes. So, yes. So the easiest fault injection will be allocating lesser heap. That will be the easiest. But yes, we can have some examples wherein we can build our SQLs in such a way it keeps on using the memory. Yes, if you want that, I can add that into my content. Currently, as of now, my blueprint was to show you using heap, but if you want another examples wherein out of memory exceptions can be explicitly added, so yes, I can do that.
Sure.
So
Anything related to this garbage collections other than increasing the heap, because increasing heap is not just the solution, right? Because sooner or
that's right.
later you will again face the problem, right? So I want
Correct.
to see some examples wherein we handle the code, how you identify this method, this class, or this thread is causing the problem, so that instead of increasing the heap, we fix the code and then launch the application and see that okay, heap issues are resolved. Hmm?
Yes, we will do that. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
thank you.
Uh, in continuation to the previous question, right? I think what I'm hearing is the best practices to avoid out of memory issues. That would be of my interest too. Okay. And uh, uh, so in this thing, right, XMS and XMX, we are starting off saying that okay, XMS is the minimum value, maximum, but how are we arriving at the XMS value? What are the things that we need to do to come up with that number? We can't just randomly give some number, right? I'm just curious about how are we arriving at that S or X even to get started with testing.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, fine. I got your point. So you are saying how we are arriving those numbers, like how much allocation we need to give to the heap, right?
Yeah, as a starting point, even if you're not running a
Yeah.
stress test or a performance test, right? So
Yes.
yeah, that's my question. Yes.
Yeah. So it depends upon application to application. Right now, you already have seen issues, problems, challenges are, you know, are isolated, and I mean those are dependent upon different type of application. But if you want a thumb rule, right? So thumb rule is start with minimum. Now, when I say minimum, nowadays 1 gig is minimum, right? So always if you are building your own app, so the thumb rule is start with lesser allocation. Okay, that's where performance engineering comes into picture. So let's start with lesser allocation, then we'll run the test and we'll analyze how it behaves, right? And now let's say I have been allocated 1 gig of heap size, and the customer or the client want there will be 100 user of load in next 1 year. Okay, so I ran test with 100 user. It went fine. Now, about the future growth, right? So whenever you do load test, whenever you create your test plans, you always mention what all things are in scope, whether you are going to run only load test or whether you are going to run the stress test to see your scalability and all those things, right? So, I mean, in short, the answer is start with minimum. Minimum means let's start with 1 gig. Okay, run your test with the anticipated load, analyze it. If there is enough, heap available throughout your test duration, and even after running endurance test, then that 1 gig will be sufficient for your at least 1 year of business growth. Now let's say after 2 to 3 years, business is expecting 2 times or 3 times or 4 times the load. Okay. Now in that case, you need to figure out, okay, currently out of 1 gig, only 500 megabytes are being used. Okay. So that will be you can do directly proportional kind of correlations. If my load is get doubled in coming 2 to 3 years, then I will reach to 1 gig of heap usage. So currently, the current infrastructure can handle my load up to upcoming 3 years. Am I making sense? Are you getting my point? How to do this?
Yes, because so there are two things here, right? So XMS and XMX.
Yeah.
So so the one, we start off with 1 GB, right? So we are specifying that as
See, you can,
XMX, correct?
yeah, you can give, so you can give XMS and XMX both as 1 gig. That's not a problem because see, ultimately you are allocating 1 gig, right? Yeah, so you are ultimately allocating 1 gig. Now,
Mhm.
yeah, so in any case, let's say now if you want to, let's say if you are thinking like this, oh, I want to, I want to use the less space and I want to make some space available for some other apps. I don't want to utilize the whole storage. So I want to give lesser value for XMS, but more value for XMX. Then see, that's where cost analysis comes into picture. Okay. What benefits will you get? Okay. At any point of time, will that storage will be useful to any other applications or any other processes running around that system? If the answer is no, then there is no point of changing your XMS very significantly different from your XMX. Making sense?
Right. So what you're referring to is the degree of multi-programming. If that is not
Yeah.
improving, there's no point in moving these numbers,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, so
Okay.
you can keep both the numbers same. You can keep both the numbers same and both the numbers less. Start with the less. That is your thumb rule. Start with 500 megabyte. Run the load test. Analyze the memory. If you have enough space available for the future growth as well, you are good. Okay, we can go to the production. It is good for deployment. Now let's say it is just you allocated 500 megabyte and only 50 megabyte is unused or left. Rest 450 is being used, and you are expecting 1.5 or 2 times the load in the next 1 year. Then I mean there may be some spike during some time, right? And you will get some problem, right? So allocate less, run your load test, analyze the memory, and then move ahead.
Okay.
Usually, realistically, both XMS and XMS configurations will be set to the same value, whether it is 1 GB or 512 MB or 2 GB. And
Mhm.
mostly it depends upon your infrastructure because your heap is always using the RAM available. So usually
That's right.
maximum of 60-70% of available RAM will be allocated to your XMX value. Also, it kind of depends upon what kind of application it is. Like it is like a simple API or complex APIs. You do TP calls, how much caching you're doing. So all these kind of things you'll have to consider. But I don't think you can calculate these heap sizes upfront.
Yeah,
I'm curious, like, is there a way for us to know what is a minimum memory requirement
Uh,
of a program? It could be, say, say for example, we have a server program running on our VM. What is the minimum? It needs this much for it to function.
You'll have to
And
play
anything
around
beyond
to come up
is
with the proper value. I think you should be the one who should be recommending that, right? Maybe by running performance tests, you'll start with some
yeah,
minimal value. You say, for example, you're doing a 200 user load and your benchmark runs for 6 hours, and you know how complex your application is. you have your infrastructure. Now you have a 120 gig RAM. So there's no harm in setting like 16 GB or 24 GB XMS and XMX size for that. You do a benchmark like for a couple of hours, then you see some heap growing sequentially. The GC is not releasing enough memory. Then you increase it, and then you finally, when you do a couple of benchmarks, you arrive with a baseline heap value for that. That's what I think how it
Right.
works.
Right. I mean, all what I'm curious about is, I mean, for any program, with respect to whatever that program is can is there a place where it says for you to run? See, even a server program, right, where we deploy our war file, even there is no activity on our application. For that server program to run, you know,
Mhm.
it needs 256 MB
Hmm.
of heap space. Is there a way for us to find that information without running
Yeah,
any tests? Because it
yeah.
comes like like
Mhm.
a laptop. It has certain specifications. Okay, this is how much.
Hmm.
Similar to does every program say it needs this much minimum? Otherwise, it'll not be a easy smooth experience for you guys, kind of thing. I don't know if I'm able to articulate the question.
Yeah,
uh,
I am getting your point. See, suppose if you want to download some application, right? You download some exe. Whenever you trying to install that, it initially tell you, okay, it need this much of space.
mhm.
I am correct. So that is a storage space. I understand that is not RAM, that is acquiring your disk space, but that is what you are referring to, correct? So before starting any program, it it tells you, okay, I need let's say 5 GB of your disk space. I need that much to install that, right? So that's what you are referring to, correct?
Yeah, I mean that same program,
Yeah.
does it also give a specification that for this program to run without smoothly, you this much amount of RAM is what it takes, kind of thing. Because
And
when you run
yeah.
the program, right, it creates objects and all. Besides what we do through the application, besides what we do from the user,
Correct.
our own code. So is that information visible or written somewhere?
Yeah, I think if you explicitly say that you want to come out of those numbers without running a test, then I do not think there will be any way instead of just guess on your experience. Okay. If you want to come
Oh, I mean,
out
to
with
just
some,
launch the application, it's not even running. Just right now, Word document, right? We are launching this
Mhm,
program. We are not typing anything.
mhm,
Just to launch this program, it requires this
mhm,
much amount of space. I'm trying to just correlate that XMS, the
mhm.
stats, this minimum amount this program demands, the server program demands. Is it same as when we launch? How much memory it consumes? Like when if you have to
I
start
think
the Tomcat
yeah.
server, it
Hmm,
for it to start successfully without any issues
hmm,
is
hmm.
See,
so it
ideally,
takes
when
some
you're
amount.
trying to deploy a WAR file or ER file to your application server, right, that will actually only load the metadata, like class loads. Okay,
Mhm. Yeah.
that will mainly happen in the meta space, as far as I believe. It doesn't use heap much. Okay, only when you
Mhm.
start using your application, that is when your objects are created, the references for the objects are created inside the heap. Okay, as far as the metaspace you don't have to configure. Like I said, it is not even related to the heap, right?
Mhm.
So you won't have any problem while the deployment is happening. Deployment will still happen smoothly
Makes sense.
because
So
your
if we
metadata is
remove,
loaded always in the
mhm,
metaspace, not in the heap.
correct.
Correct me
So
if I'm
we
wrong.
makes sense, Kiran. So if you remove the war file from the server
Yeah,
program, so we are not
right.
deploying any war file. All that we
Okay.
have run right now is the server program running. Does the server program also create some objects for it to function? You understand? At
Yeah,
the end of the day, even a
short-lived
server
objects
program
are
is a
used.
piece of code, right? It will have
Correct.
somewhere that where you have to, it has to create some objects in the heap to
Correct.
run. to just run. So I was wondering, like, that's
These
where
are
I'm coming
very
from.
short-lived objects, which
Uh-huh.
GC, before you even realize, right, the GC clears them. Okay. So you won't even face any problem with that also. That is what I was trying to say. Your GC clears those short-lived objects very quickly, and the metadata and the class loading happens inside the meta space. So you won't still face any problem while deploying or even while starting the server program, anything like that. Right? You should not face any problem. Say if there are any third-party calls that are happening directly when you start your Tomcat servers or your WebLogic servers, then you're actually using the heap there, right? Then and there itself, as soon as your application starts successfully, you will start seeing out-of-memory exceptions.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. And Vicky, I just want to give you a shout out. I mean, thanks for putting things together like in this Word document and going over it. This is very helpful.
Yep, thank you. So
Yeah, one
let's move forward, or
question here.
anyone has? Yeah, please go ahead. Please go
Yeah,
ahead.
one question. So this XMS and XMX, right? So suppose if we are given 256 as XMS, so the application will be starting with 256 MB, and XMX we are given as 1 gig. So it will dynamically grow over the period of time when the application needs it to 1 GB, or uh, at the start itself 1 GB will be allocated to the program.
Anybody want to answer that?
Yeah, so basically resizing happens. Suppose we have given the data starting memory XMS as 256 MB, and X that total heap memory, max heap memory like 1 GB. So resizing happens dynamically, but better to avoid resizing since it takes a lot of resources also. So it's a best practice to make that starting heap size and total heap size equal. Right, Vicky?
Yeah. So anybody else? Raj or anybody else want to add? Then I'll add my
XMS,
thoughts.
I think, yeah, XMS is something, a minimum amount of memory this my application
Yeah. So
is,
the
so it will
I
be
think the
locked.
question is,
It will be
yeah.
locked.
So yeah. So
The
maximum
256 will
will
be
be.
locked for
Mhm.
the application. Under it will be locked for us. That's what I think. No other
Okay.
applications are allowed to use that 256 MB of space. It
And what
is
about XMX value? 1 gig.
that is depends on the usage. So other applications also can take up that space if this application is not using it.
Any other thoughts from anyone?
I
Other
think if we
applications
didn't
will
use also, that will be
question.
static, no? Whatever the max assigned, it will be blocked, no?
Yeah, it will be blocked for that single.
Oh, yes,
Yes. So it will be blocked. That's why I was saying. So it's better to give, both sizes similar.
Yeah, equal.
Yeah. So it will be logged. Okay. So whatever your XMX is, that heap is allocated to that particular application where you are defining that as XMX. For example, in Jmeter also, if you run Jmeter, you can try that. Okay, run your script by giving very less XMS and XMX. Okay, and start increasing your users. You will start getting out of memory in Jmeter logs. Okay, so and then you go to your Jmeter properties file, increase your heap size, and then you will find whatever maximum you allocate, that is being logged from the starting, whether your users are less or your users are more. Okay, so in a nutshell, whatever you are giving in XMX, that space is being stored for your application. Okay, so the only difference will be uh, how your young and old space, those are being utilized. Okay, suppose if there are some applications where uh, objects are being created very frequently, okay, then you need enough space for hidden and survivor as well. Okay, so in that case, uh, it is better to make those both the values similar. Okay.
Is
Please,
there
please do.
something we can do, Vicky? Vicky, is there something we can do that if my application is not using the range between XMX minus XMS, let other applications use that space until this one demands it? Can something be done? Because that way we can improve the
Yeah. Yeah.
usage of
So
RAM,
that,
right?
yes,
Otherwise,
I
it's like wasted.
that's what I was telling very initially. We need to do some, cost analysis in that case. What will be the benefit? Okay. So that's what the first thumb rule is: start with very less values for both.
Okay. Mhm.
Okay. So start with less value, run the load test, then start slowly move ahead. So that will be the best scenario to build. I mean, if you want to make other application also utilize the available space, so that is how we can do. Okay, so today uh, I'll be discussing two things. The first is some mathematical calculations related to workload modeling, and then we have one application ready with separate web server, app server, and database server. And I have configured some thread pools and DB connections values there. Okay, so let's see how it goes. Okay, and one thing I just want to reiterate, please do not shy of asking questions. And if you have any kind of doubt, please ask, because I keep on missing messages on Teams. Okay. And do not shy. It may happen, I may not know the answer, but I'll definitely help you out. And okay, so that is, I can assure you. So don't think just sitting idle and listening to, just ask your questions and also give your thoughts. It will be helpful. Okay. Now, one thing I have asked in first session as well: how will you calculate your load? Okay, how much? Let's say your somebody comes to you and they want to test one new functionality, let's say new button, and they say, I this is the new functionality and I want to do load test for only this particular button. If you remember, I gave an example of compose button on Gmail, right? So what I'll show you now, I'll show you the real production logs uh, in one of my projects that I worked upon. So these are the logs that got captured from New Relic. Okay, so New Relic is very good tool. We will cover that. Don't worry. I will help you out in learning New Relic queries. It's very simple and it is very helpful. It is an APM tool. It is also log analysis tool. So you can see what I have done. I ran one query and I took the data for last 2 months. Okay. I took last 2 months. What I want to see, there is one JSP call that I want to test. Okay. So I have, I mean, blurred this area because to because of intellectual property. So I want to see how many JSPs call are there in last 2 months. Okay. So whenever you see the logs, right, there are different name value pairs. Every log has some name value pairs. For example, what is the URL, what is the environment, what is the entity name, what is correlation ID, what is session ID. Every parameter name has associated value with it. Okay. Now you can write your own queries, whatever tool you are working upon. Don't worry. So this is a New Relic. Similarly, you can run on Splunk or AppDynamics. So these are the last 2 months data with me now. So what will I do? I'll now see where is the peak from last 2 months. Let's say I got this value. Okay, so this is the one day from last 60 days where there were maximum hits, right? So what should be my next goal as of uh, your understanding of performance testing? Now I know, let's say this is 1st of November or 1st of December data. On 1st of December, I got the maximum hits. Okay, here it is showing 7K, around 7K hits. Now what should be my next goal? If I want to run a load test for 1 hour, I got a data for 1 month or 2 months. I know how many hits are there per day and I want to run the test now for 1 hour. What should be my next step? Anyone? Because I won't run test for 24 hours and keep on hitting 7,000, right? I want to test for peak hour. And any thoughts, anyone? Please don't shy. Please don't say, what if I say wrong? Don't worry.
So we can do the peak hour load testing. Basically, that peak hour data we can simulate for 1 hour.
Okay, so yeah, so how to get a peak hour data? Currently, I got data for 1 month or 2 months, right? Or 3 months
That
where you
first
run.
December number of hits that we will do for 1 hour. No, that we are hitting for in like 1 day. That is 1 day like 24 hours. So we can do that operational hours can be 10 hours. So accordingly we can calculate per minute or per hour.
Okay. So you may I know your name? Sorry, I can't see the
Rohan,
names on my
Rohan.
Rohan. Okay, so Rohan says, let's say this is 10,000 of peak, and you are saying, let's say there is a 10-hour operational day,
Yeah,
and you will divide 10,000 with 10, that comes out to be 1,000, correct?
yeah,
Now you will test with 1,000 of load for 1 hour, right?
1 hour. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So that is one approach. Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else want to add something here?
Does this tool give us how much, what's the distribution for that particular day?
Yeah, so that
Ki-
is more better. Particular
yeah,
day
if
we
it can
can
give
peak
us
hour we
December
can.
here, right? Good.
Yeah. Yes, please,
Yeah,
please. Anyone else? Yeah. So, uh, Raj, right? Your name?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So
So
Raj
if we can
says,
get, does New Relic
hmm.
give us that? But so here in this graph, we see
Yes,
December
yes. It
30th,
it's just a matter of
another
rewriting
variable.
the query. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So from that day's distribution, which are there was more number of hits. That information I use that as a peak artist load.
Right. Anyone else want to add something?
Time series, I think you can set to 1 minute. Same query
Mm-hmm.
since 2 months ago. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Time series 1 minute. So that way, it will exactly return the exact minute where the traffic actually peaked. So we can use that
Okay.
and then uh, perform a test, basically.
Yes. So yeah. So basically, yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Anyone else want to say? Yeah, like the first approach Rohan mentioned, uh, divide this by operational hour and you will get some number and you can test that. And the other approach is by two other people. They are saying
Okay.
tweak the query and get 1 hour of data for that particular day, right? So I'll okay. So if you get 1 hour of data, that will be I mean the best thing. But running this number, dividing it by operational hour, that will not be in any case. If you don't have anything, you can do that, but please understand there is a difference between average and peak. Okay, dividing this number by operational hours will give you average. Okay, now average can be misleading in performance testing results. That is why we always prefer either 90th percentile, 95th percentile. Okay, so we do not want to uh, go just like that, the outliers, right? That is why we want to include 95th percentile response time in our reports, not the average. Because I'll give you an example. Let's say there is a pond, okay, and its height is, you must have heard this example, I don't know. It, let's say height of the water is 4 feet, okay, and now if somebody is of 3 feet, he will drown, right? But somebody is having 4 feet or 5 feet, he can easily walk. I'm not talking about swimming, so please pardon me. I'm just giving you an example. So averages in some cases can be misleading. Therefore, and especially in performance testing reports, therefore we show 95th percentile and 90th percentile. In any case, if you do not have one, now you have access to application, you are getting logs, you just tweak this query, you can get 1 hour of data. In some cases, somebody gives you, let's say business analyst gives you, okay, I have 1 day of data. In 1 day, there were these many claims, these many hits were happening. I don't know what was happening per hour. In that case, you can divide those numbers with your operational hours and do not run exactly with the same number. Okay, that will be the average. At least go for, now you will say how I'm go for at least 3 times or 4 times. Now how I am saying 3 times or 4 times, it's just an guess on my experience. Okay, it's, again, there is no hard and fast rule. So the idea is always go beyond the averages. Okay, in your load test, always go beyond the averages. Now, if I run the second query, uh, sorry for this. I just went to Jen. Okay. So if I run the second query, what it will give? It will give me, I just tweak my query, time series 1 hour. Okay, it's just about New Relic queries. These are called NRQLs, New Relic query languages. Now you will see the whole 24 hours, this was my peak. Okay, so can you see the peak is 2.8K. Okay, if I would have running with average, my load will be half. I mean, uh, in this case, 7.8K, let's say it's total 8 and you divide it by 8, it comes out to be 1,000, right? But in case of hourly rate, it comes out to be 2.8K. So it's better, yeah, as you mentioned, it's always better to get 1 hour of data. In any case, you do not have access, you do not have anything with you, you are relying on anyone else, then go beyond the averages. So that is that is the thumb rule, go beyond the averages. Okay. So that is one thing. Now let's say you want to hit this particular API 2800 times. Now, how will you decide how many user you will use to hit these many transactions in 1 hour? Anyone? Now, this is throughput, right? This
Yeah.
number gives you the throughput. How will you decide how many user will hit to get this much throughput? Anyone, please, only 15 minutes left.
Same number of users if we consider different sessions for the.
Same number means to 2800 users, you are saying?
Yes.
Okay, okay, that is one approach. Okay, anyone else?
Using Little's law.
Okay, Little's law. What does Little's law says?
Number of user is throughput and multiplication of response time, think time, and pacing.
Okay, Little's law is one, and another approach is using same user. Anyone else? Anything? Please.
I'm wondering, Vicky, is there a way to know the number of real users who who are on the application
Mhm.
at this point of time? Could that give us some idea?
Okay, now when you say number of applications on the application, okay,
Real users.
real users, there are two different things. The one is the user that you are talking about, real user. When you say real user, you mean the
A
registered user
registered
will.
two pieces, right? One is if it's a UI, it's a yeah. If it's a registered user browsing the application and hitting this
Yeah.
particular using this particular JSP, uh, and the other one is it could be just a web service. So in that case, it's a totally different.
No,
So
it's something from UI. It's coming something from UI. Okay. Uh, what I mean to say, let's say business says we have 500 users with us. Okay, 500 user registered with us,
mhm.
but we don't know how many of them are doing this particular action at this particular period of time. You getting me? You are also a registered user of Gmail. I am also a registered user of Gmail. What is the probability that we both are clicking on compose button at the same time? What is that probability? Very less, right?
Mhm.
Although we both are registered users, we all are, let's say we are 10, 15 people here, we all are registered users. But what is the probability we are hitting the same application, the same button, same click at the same period of time? Right? So that is where concurrency comes into picture. Okay. Whenever you say users, you need to know the concurrent users. Okay. So there
Mhm.
is a difference between, again, I mean, simultaneous user, concurrent user, registered user, right? Now, uh, and yeah, anyone, any questions still here? Anybody wants to add something?
Yeah, we can get the target TPS from the peak also, right? Say, for example, if we are seeing the peak
Mhm.
here as 10,000 or something, I can't see.
2000 to
Yeah, it's
2.8K.
2000, 2800. Yeah, 2.8. Hello,
Yeah, you are audible.
can you? Okay. I,
Okay,
somebody was
looks like
saying something.
we lost Kiran.
Okay.
So,
Okay, fine.
um, Vicky, like in the previous slide, if you go to the previous image, right, where you had this whole spread, see there could be a possibility. Right now, we are looking drilling, we have drilled down into December 30th data in that
Mhm.
24 hours, and we saw like one particular hour, the number of hits is 2.8K.
Mhm.
Now, if you go back to the previous screen, there is also it could be possible that on December the next the after the highest rate on
Hello.
October 18th, around October
Mhm.
18th also you see a big bar,
Mhm.
right? So if you drill
Mhm.
down into that data, there could be a possibility that at a particular hour the number of
Mhm.
hits is
Mhm.
more than 2.8K. It could be 4K, but for the rest of the hours it could be less, so that everything
Correct.
together come to this point. So just
Correct.
drilling down into one particular R,
Hmm. Hmm.
which
Hmm.
shows as max, may not be the accurate way of looking at what was the peak usage of this particular GSP or functionality, correct?
That is very valid point. Anybody want to say something on this?
I had dropped due to some connection issues. So regarding
Yeah,
that
please go ahead.
number of users question, right? So I was saying, can we get the target RPM? Like say, for example, if the peak is around 10,000 requests per minute, and we divide that by 60, and we get the target TPS, right? So when you multiply that target TPS by the response time, we get the number of concurrent users, right?
Yes, so the target is unknown here. You are the one who need to get that target.
Correct. So
That's
that is
why
what I'm saying.
we,
From the
yeah.
peak, we get the
Mhm.
target TPS. Say, for example, 10,000. So when you divide 10,000 requests per second divided by
Mhm.
60, we get the
Mhm.
TPS as 166. So when
Mhm.
you multiply, say, for example, if your response time is 0 0.5 seconds,
Mhm.
166 multiplied by 0 0.5, which comes to 83.
Mhm.
That is your concurrent users hitting so many requests.
That is right. So here in this equation, you are
Uh-huh.
already aware about your target TPS, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So my
So in
point
that
is,
case, yeah,
Mhm.
go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
So in that case, if we already know it, so why don't we just directly multiply it with the response time
Yeah,
and
we
get the
don't know,
concurrent?
na. We don't know.
Uh, but the
Mm.
90th percentile response time should be available on Neuralink itself, no?
Response
What
time
would
is
you mean?
fine. Response times
Yeah,
SL is available, but
right.
target is not. Target is not available. Target is we are trying to get it from these logs. Okay. So once you have hourly target, you can just calculate a per minute target. Okay, it's all about the target. Whether, see, in that equation, in little slow equation, there has to be one variable and every other values should you need to put, right, to get that value.
Mhm.
Correct. if your equation is x is equal to y plus z, then two of the variables should be available to get the value of x. Correct? Now,
Okay.
target is not available to you. You are finding out what should be my performance target. Okay, so you get your target as 2.8 here. Now you know the response time. Yeah, now
Correct.
you are getting your users. Yeah, that is fine. Now, the second question raised by I think Raj was this. Let's say there is very similar peak or different peak, and if we get to drill down the data for this particular day, it is possibility that hourly peak is different and it could be more than the hourly peak that we got here. Right? That's what your question was. Right, Raj?
Yes, yes. So what
Yeah.
I'm thinking is, since we are trying to find the peak hour metric, the
Hmm.
query instead of day, if we can change it to hour, that would be
Hmm.
more reliable than otherwise.
Hmm.
That's what I see. Is that does that make sense, Vicky?
Uh, yeah, so okay, I'll answer that. See, hourly data is fine, but what I do, okay, if I need to do run test, I will not go with this number. Okay, I multiplied it by 2. Okay, now why 2? Why not 3? Why not 4? So, see, at it's see performance testing results are extrapolatory numbers. Okay, performance testing results will never give you exact number. Whenever you run your Jmeter test, it does not include your browser rendering. Okay, this question comes so many times. Okay, you have reported
Hmm.
this much second, but when we launch application on UI, it is getting this much second, because we always forget there is browser rendering and all those things, right? So the
Right.
first thing is, always remember performance testing gives you extrapolatory numbers. Okay, you need to extrapolate them. Now, why 2x? Because it will give you and it will give the business confidence. Yes, you have, utilized your peak and also considered the future growth, also considered that point that you are talking about. There could be any possibility the peak could be higher in some other day. Okay, so it's always better whatever you get from logs, the hourly data, go for at least 2 times. Okay, 2 times of that data. So that will give confidence to the business. Yes, you have tested with that much load, which currently is not there in the production. Okay, and then you can again extrapolate. You can again do another test for 4x, and you can compare how the results looks like with 2x and 4x. All those things can be done, but you got my point, right? What I'm saying?
Yeah, so there are two pieces to here, two things, right? One is the load test,
Mhm.
and the other one is the skill of, like,
Mhm.
multiplication, multiplied that number by whatever to see whether the application
Mhm.
will be able to handle it in the future. So what I'm hearing, what I'm understanding from what you're saying is, so whatever number is available here we see, say 2.8. So it's for the load test, what we need to consider is twice this value.
Yes, correct.
So, okay, anything we do beyond that is a scalability test, whether the application will be
Correct.
able to scale.
Yes.
So that's how it is done. Okay, so this
Yeah.
is the
Yeah.
the PCAR test, PCAR load is equal to what we see on the Neuralink. Max what max 1 hour throughput, what we 1 hour usage
Hmm.
multiplied by 2. Is that
Yeah.
the best
Yes.
practice? Okay.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Because it's again, see why this is a good practice, because it will, you are making sure whatever the point you have raised, you are making sure there will be, if there will be other peaks in some other days, you are already covering that, right?
Right.
It could be, yeah. So that is how we will be doing it.
And the other piece which is missing in this equation is our
Mhm.
performance testing tools. They don't take the browser rendering time
Yeah,
into
that will
consideration.
that will other
But whereas here in the
yeah, that will always be.
Neuralink data includes that, whereas our performance testing metrics doesn't include that information. Is that correct?
No. New Relic, see what now it depends what all things are configured inside New Relic. Okay, so
Mhm.
yeah, so in New Relic you can configure so many things. If in my case, what I used to do, Jmeter, let's say if you are running an API, okay, now like we were discussing yesterday, web server, app server, then database server. In my projects, similar things, I mean, front end, middleware, and database, right? So whatever am doing from JMeter, that will that gives me end to end, going from front end, middleware, then to DB and coming back. That kind of response for the APIs. But in New Relic, they have configured, they can check the response time between second and third layer, that is middleware and database layer. So there are multiple settings that can be done inside New Relic to see all those things. But browser rendering thing, that piece will remain missing from the performance testing results unless or until if you really want to test it, I can give you one some jugaad kind of technique. You can put a background load. Okay, you can put a, let's say you want to test your application with 100 user. You can start your Jmeter script with 100 user and start one Selenium script with single user. Okay, and then start noting those times. Or if you are running using LoadRunner, you can use true client. So in that way, your application is already under load, right? And you are checking how much rendering browser will take under the load conditions. So that is one quick fix, you can say, right? If you want to measure browser rendering, that is a kind of quick fix results. Okay,
So the
making sense,
actual
everyone?
time, so the
Yeah,
mathematics
please
is
go ahead.
here, the math here is the actual time is equal to the time what we see, what we get from the performance testing tool plus X. That X is the browser rendering time.
That's right. Yes.
Okay, to get
And
that browser rendering time, we can rely, are there any tools which we can rely on?
yes, there are many tools. There are HTTP Watch. Have you heard about it? HTTP Watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, HTTP Watch is one. Simple is now you can integrate Selenium WebDriver with Jmeter, run single user script with Jmeter, and start uh, uh, logging those response times with parallelly running your background load. So that will be, I mean, you are using the same tool, you need not to use anything else.
So the
That we need a
Selenium will
Selenium
report.
script, no?
Sorry,
Will
come again?
the Selenium script will compatible fully with Jmeter?
No. Selenium script, I'm not saying, I'm saying using Selenium WebDriver, we will create script in Jmeter itself, but it will run as your browser.
Is it possible to showcase that one?
Yes, we can do that. That's a simple thing. Don't worry. I
So
think
the Sel
our
So we should
expectations
do
are
this
getting
thing that
higher and
we'll
higher.
explicitly uh, pass thread dot sleeps in that uh, WebDriver script, right? Usually,
Mhm.
because why I'm trying to say this one is when you're logging into your load is happening in the background, and you don't know what is the uh, response time now. Whatever without load, which used to take 1 second or 2 seconds, now under load it has increased to 5 seconds or 7 seconds. Now when you log in and you'll have to wait for that button to appear, right? So you'll wait for certain sleep. Explicitly, you'll put a thread dot sleep there, like by 20,000 milliseconds. In that case, you're explicitly it'll look like for the user, it'll look like it is actually taking more time,
Yeah,
right?
we can config. Yeah, I got your question. So you are saying if there are any functions, so you can configure your script in such a way that those sleep times will be excluded from your reports.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like think times, right? It's like constant
Right.
timers that we add. In JMeter, there are options if you want to include those post processor in your reports or not. So similarly, we can write Groovy scripts. We can configure our JMeter in such a way so that
Okay.
those thread sleep times will not be included in your response time results.
Okay. So if there are 50 thread groups in my test plan, and I can do this only for one thread group, right? So what about
Yeah,
the rest of the thread groups?
yeah,
Okay,
correct. So that's what I was saying. Performance testing's numbers are always take those as extrapolation numbers. Okay, they will never be the exact numbers. Okay,
right.
they will give you uh, a direction, right?
Mm.
So
Mm.
yes, you are right. If there are n number of thread groups, you can't do for each and every
Correct,
screen. It will
correct,
definitely take your load generator. I
correct.
mean, you got
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
yeah.
So that limitation will always be there.
So any this APM tool, whatever Neuralink you're talking about, this doesn't
Mhm.
have RAM in it, real
See,
user monitoring.
it has now, as we are worried about load generators, as we are worried about our Jmeter consuming memory.
Uh,
Similarly, these tools are configured in such a way so that if you notice, if you have access to any APM tool, you will
mhm.
notice if you the older data will keep on aggregating. Okay, that means currently I am able to see 2 months of data, but if I go beyond 2 months, I won't see graph for each day. Okay, so that data will get aggregated. Either it will get truncated, I mean completely flushed out, or will get the point I want to make is it's possible to get everything inside APM, but that could always also be a overhead on application. Always remember this, right? How New Relic is getting data? New Relic agents are running in the application, right? On each layer. Now, if we install agents of APM on each layer, there will be overhead on the application, whether it is 1%, 2%, or 0.5%, right? So the best practice is instrument those layers which are dynamic, which are subject to change, which are subject to frequent code changes, right? You're getting my point, or I'm going in another direction?
No, I get it, but that way also you can even calculate the overhead from your agent. No, so it should not matter because the first test you do it without your agent. You find out the calculate. You get your utilizations of your CPU,
Yeah.
RAM usage, everything. Now the second test you repeat the same test, but now with the agent added. So
Mhm.
the difference between the utilization is what the overhead is on the from the agent,
Yeah, that is
correct?
right. Yeah, I am only considering here if you want to see the browser rendering part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
only considering that part. Yeah. Rest
But
all
agent,
it has to.
New Relic agent will also take care of the client side metrics as well,
Yes,
uh,
it can. That's
RAM
what I'm
metrics as
saying.
well.
Yeah, it
Okay,
it can. But that's what I'm saying.
okay.
Whenever we instrument all these things, we need to make sure there will be no overhead of, instrumenting each and every component, right? So that we need to take care of. APM, see, APM is there to give you all the details. Yes, it can. So before shutting down today's session, I'll quickly show you one more thing. Uh,
Uh, Vicky, I have one question.
yes, please.
So now three things here. One is the HTTP watch. Is that the tool you mentioned?
Yeah, HTTP watch.
Then there is second one is Selenium, and the third one is the JMeter, right? On all
Yeah.
these three, we are doing for only one user. We are doing the login. So I'm clicking the login and seeing what's the response time, what I see on
Mhm.
HTTP watch. The same
Mhm.
thing, I run the Selenium script and I see a response time. Same for the same login.
Mhm.
And for
Mhm.
through JMeter, now I
Mhm.
have a number over there. So
Mhm.
now I'm trying to see, like, from my understanding of what was shared, the time what we see on HTTP watch, is that going to be greater than what we see on Selenium, and what we see on Selenium will be greater than what we see on JMeter? Is that the correct understanding or something missing?
The
Because
time on Selenium and the time on HTTP watch will be quite similar, and it both will be greater than what you will get from Jmeter alone.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Dharmendra, you raised your hand, I saw.
Yeah. So on question on the same thing. So why is that? Like why JMeter is not giving the similar response time? Is it because it is just taking the first bit and then giving the response time? Something like that?
Uh, mm, so you are talking about time for first byte, right? TTFB.
I don't know what I'm saying on the same question which Raj asked,
Yeah,
right?
so
So the
it's
response
because
time.
of browser rendering. That's what we were discussing. Because of browser rendering in industry standard or in best scripting standard, we do not include any static contents whenever we create our UI flows, right? We disable images, right? Now, why we do that? It's just to, because see, there will be no change. Static means static, right? There will be nothing changes happening in that particular area. No image will get changed. If there is an image of 1 MB, it will remain 1 MB. You can't do anything, right? Whatever dynamic requests are there, okay, on backend of it, any SQL queries are running, anything is running, any processing is going on, those are dynamic parts. So performance testing need to consider those areas, okay. So if you are not running any static content with your script, then yes, your Jmeter timing will always be lesser as compared to running manually on the browser, right? So in a nutshell, if you want answer in one line, it's because of browser rendering. Okay, technically, because we do not run any static contents, you can do that, but that will not be a good practice because it will ultimately eats up your load generator memory, and you won't get anything out of it because those are static, right? Code changes will always happening inside your dynamic things, right? But yes, like you said, sometimes it is also noticed there are problems in static contents, sometimes compression needed. Okay, there are many tools, HTTP watch is one of them. It can show you, okay, if you compress this much this content, it will help you to solve, I mean, get the response time lower. But Jmeter will not be helpful in that case. Either you can use your Selenium WebDriver to automate those things, or any browser tools like HTTP watch I mentioned. Okay, before closing
So
today's session,
yeah, what?
yeah, anyone?
Yeah, sorry, sorry, one question. So
Yes, yes.
you showed that graph, right? And you said we have to do 2x of that particular value, 2.8
Mhm,
K, right? So that
mhm.
was for a load test or a stress test or
Load test.
load test. So in case, see, so we are already simulating 2x is what you said, right?
Mhm,
So we'll do capacity planning based on 2x. So
mhm.
is it not like we are reserving too much of resources already
Yeah,
and then
yes, that is there. But again, like I mentioned, there could be chances. Somebody else was also saying, right? There could be chances there could be another peak on any other day, which could be higher than it. So we are just taking, again, these numbers are always extrapolatory. Okay, you can't get exactly everything in the exact manner. Okay, it will give you some direction. Okay, that is the thing. But your point is also very valid. You are not already allocating resources which you may not need. Yes, that can be true. It again, it should come from the business actually. Okay, now if you take this data and go to business, okay, I get this peak and I'm running with 2x of load. Now let's say your 2x load ran perfectly fine, nobody will be bothered, right? Yeah, it is perfectly fine, nobody will be bothered. Now let's say it is some of your transactions are not meeting NFRs, not meeting SLAs, and there are breaching, but 1x load is running fine. Then it will create problem. Now somebody will say, why 2x, man? this is peak now, so we are good. Why to go for 2x? We are not expecting that much load, right? So it depends upon the application also, and it depends upon the expectation from the business as well. So our idea, our point of view from performance is to give as much confidence as we can, so that there should see what is our purpose. On the very first day, what we were discussing, to make the best quality product, right? So to make that product, you have to do some extrapolation, correct? You can't just rely on just one number and yes, that is done. You're getting my point, right? Making sense?
Yeah, yeah. So ultimately, it's like whatever we do, we have to showcase it to a stakeholder and then they will decide.
Correct.
But
Correct.
ultimately, yeah, we have to, for safer side, we have to do 2x.
Yeah, it's for safety. See, if any performance related issues or bottlenecks comes in production, then see who will be the culprit. A tester will be called as a culprit, right? You didn't test this, correct?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how. But yes,
But
sometimes there will be more resource allocation. You don't need that. There has to be a proper justification for it. Okay. So if you are allocating, let's say if you are running with 2x load and it requires some more instances, more CPUs, so there has to be some justification why 2x. Okay. So you either you need to drill down more data and you can say, okay, I get somewhere more peak than this and I want to uh, be on the safer side. I did like this. So that's how it goes.
so my the reason of me asking this question was because we are using cloud, right, nowadays, and
Yes.
yeah, so it gets very critical to not do over so like
Hmm.
do proper capacity planning. So that's what
Yeah.
my
So
intention was.
cloud is good for businesses, no doubt. And it is good for us and it is also bad for us. Bad for us means, yeah, so they'll say why we need you, right? Why we need a performance tester? Our application will scale up on the fly. We don't need you, right? But you need now again, whatever you were saying, that comes into picture. Why to allocate more resources if you are not using them? If you are not optimizing your code and because of your less performing code you are getting more instances, so you are wasting your money. So it's like compute versus fix, right? So instead of fixing the things, you are just adding the compute power. So compute versus fix, that will always be there. So that's where our skills comes into picture, wherein we can help them. Okay, why these many resources at this particular layer, why not this? So that's where testing comes into place. Okay, let's do a test, right? So see, we need to sell ourselves, right? So it's all about how we can sell ourselves, how we can sell our skills. Okay.
Mm.
And it's not like we are not adding any value. Please understand that. Okay, it's not like we are not adding value. There are many instances where company saves so much of money because of having proper performance test. Okay. Okay,
Um,
so
Vicky, this graph that you're showing us, it is plotted on the basis of the logs, right? So what is New Relic doing? It is reading all the logs, and based on the timestamp, it is showing us this graph. Is that correct statement?
yes, that is correct. So there is a table called log, right? So
Okay.
and
So
yeah, there is some entity starting with environment name, that is PRD means prod, and there are some request URLs ending with
mm,
JSPs. So I am interested in how many these particular calls are being made on the prod environment between these timings.
so in an architecture where we
And
have a web server, an application server, and a database server, all three are on three different VMs. Which specific log is New Relic reading to get this data? Is it the access logs? Because there are different kinds of logs. Access
yeah,
logs.
I
If you
have,
go by
sorry,
WebLogic
I have,
server, yeah.
yes, so this is reading from your web server. I have commented this name. Have you heard about Nginx?
No, I have not.
Okay, so
Nginx is a
Nginx is
load generator, right? load generator software. Sorry, I
Load
mean
balancer
load
you must.
balancer, load balancer
Yeah,
software, right?
yeah. Load
Okay.
balancer can act as your web server. Not always, but it can. Load balancer is not equal to web server, but in some cases, yes. Okay. So this is Nginx. So that is your web server. So these logs are taken from there. So entity name is defining that. Okay. So every now let's say there are other server, it has different entity name. So that is how it is being uh, defined.
So we are basically we are reading we are what New Relic is doing is it's reading the load balance. So load balancer logs, not the web server,
Yeah.
not the application, not the database. So in case if we have a load balancer, the engine, whatever you said, installed on a separate VM where we don't have any other server softwares, what New Relic is doing is reading the logs of that particular
New
machine.
Relic, yeah. So, sorry to interrupt you. New Relic will have all the entities inside it. On not only for, it's not like only load balancer or only application server. It will have entities from all the layers. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So
it'll
this is
in the
this.
it'll be like a drop down kind of thing where it will show the VM where the load balancers are installed, a VM where the web servers are installed, where a VM where application and the VM where database server is installed. So is that what we mean by entity name?
Yes.
Okay.
And this
That's
particular call is being made from the, so JSP is nothing but, right, Java server pages, those are being called from your UI, right? So end user can see this particular page. Okay, that is
mhm.
why this call is being made to the web server. Okay, and you are using those logs. So let's say if this request is being made, let's say you want to see something which is not related to UI, then yes, this entity name will be different. There will be no Nginx, there will be something else, maybe middleware or something database, right? It's like that.
So for workload, this whatever assignment we did today, that for that we need to rely on the load balancer logs, not on any other other. Correct me if
Load
I'm wrong.
balancer, load balancer, web server, app server, you need to rely on. There are, yes, you are right. In case there is load balancer available, if not, then application servers.
Then the web server, right? Because that's the first
Yeah, web server
entry
and
point.
yeah, I am considering both are similar here. So that's, yes, you are right. Yeah.
Okay. This is the case with the one, say if we have, it's one instance, but if we have multiple instances of, you know,
Mm,
servers, then are we going to bring all of them together to plot this data?
no. So this is not logged in that manner. Okay. There, when we say entity name equal to something, in in this case, it is taking data whether there are two load balancer, three load balancer, or whatever it is. It is
Mhm.
taking data from all those entities and considering it as one.
Okay.
Okay.
Aggregates. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I want to cover this as well. So I think let's start tomorrow then, or you have some time. I'll quickly cover it. Okay, let's start tomorrow. Anybody else have any questions?
Vicky, could you please make that Word document that you showed today available on our G Drive?
Same place?
Yeah, like I
Okay.
yeah.
Can you share your number as well in the group? Can you ping if possible?
My phone number or email ID?
Phone number.
Okay, I'll send it to you. Yeah.
Okay. Uh, anybody else want to ask something? Please.
Yeah, so
Tomorrow I'll
about this
start.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so about this workload, so we have to see other things also, right? The scenarios and everything, the similar kind of things we have to do for other scenario. Like
Correct.
log in, log out, or whatever we are doing inside application, right?
Right. Right.
Okay. So we'll also see that also how to do tomorrow. Or this is it.
Yes. I mean, see,
Uh,
concept will remain the same. Okay.
Mm.
Whether it is login or whether you are searching anything, whatever it is, concept will remain the same. But if you want, we can do that separately as well.
Okay.
Anybody else? Any question? Okay, we'll catch up tomorrow. I'll start with workload modeling. We'll share some calculation how to get the throughput and users. Then we'll do some hands-on or live demo using those app server, DB server. I have a sample application. So we'll change thread pool connections and DB pool connections, and we'll see how the performance changes. Okay. Okay, anyone? And Atul and Dharmendra, can you also please share your numbers, please?
Sure, sure. Where do I need to share?
WhatsApp only. WhatsApp will be fine. Or if you want to give here in the chat, wherever
Yeah,
you want.
I'll uh,
yeah, I've shared
I'll
mine.
ping here. I'll ping.
I'll do that.
Okay, and Atul as well. Okay, guys. Let's catch up tomorrow and
Sure.
have some fun.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.